Hi everyone, so we're going to just jump right in this tutorial. I am Brandon, Happily Dressed. I'm here to show you how to make a double waist sweatpant. For everything you need, just visit the description down below. It'll be the pattern, which will have the instructions and the printout pattern. So starting off with the PDF pattern, once you print it, you'll want to cut down the right and bottom sides of the paper. This will make it much easier for you to tie them together, and then using tape, you're going to go ahead and tape your pattern pieces together. I went ahead and just printed out my own size, but there will also be a size chart guide to make sure you cut out the right size. After that, once you have your 6 pieces cut out, we can go on to cutting your pieces out in the fabric. You also want to make sure that you cut out your notches to make sewing the pieces together easier. I use a fleece fabric for the main and then a cotton fabric for the pocket bags. But getting started, you want to take your front piece and attach one of the pocket bags right sides facing, and we're going to sew that down at 1/4 of an inch. And after that, you're going to serge the top side of your front only. And once you do that, we're going to press the pocket out and go ahead and edge stitch that pocket down. Once that's complete, you'll go ahead and do the same thing to your other front. To attach the fronts together, you're gonna place them on top of each other, right sides facing. Go ahead and pin in place. Then we're gonna sew it down at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once you have a completed front, we're actually going to do the same process with the back, with attaching the pocket, serging just the top, or zigzag stitching just the top to catch the pocket, pressing it out, and then edge stitching the pocket down. And then we'll attach our 2 backs together and have a completed back. And once we have a completed back, we can go ahead and bring our completed front and lay it on top. And then going one side at a time, go ahead and pinning the sides of the front and back together down the side seam and through the pocket. Once it's complete, you'll take it over to your machine and sew it in place at 1/2 inch seam allowance. When sewing the pocket bag, feel free to just take your time around those curves to make it back onto the sweatpant, and then you're just going to sew down the sweatpant at the seam allowance. And once that's done, you can serge or zigzag that to secure the raw edges. And once you finish with one side, you'll go ahead and do the same to the next side. And once you have both sides sewn and serged, we're going to take the inseam of both the front and the back of the pant and have them kiss right in the middle. Go ahead and pin that in place, and then use the notches down each side of the leg to pin the inseam in place. And once that's done, we're going to bring it over to the sewing machine and sew that down at 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. And you guessed it, we're going to serge that too. And now we're going to move on to the additional waistband. So you're going to grab both pieces of piece A and lay them together right sides facing and sew the side seams down at 1/2 inch seam allowance. After that's done, you'll want to find the 4 corners of this piece. This will help us throughout the project. And once those 4 corners are found, we're going to put piece A to the side and grab waistband A and go ahead and close the band by sewing the side seam in place at 1/2 inch. And once that's completed and serged, we're going to go ahead and fold the waistband in half and go ahead and pin it in place. And then we're going to take our back seam and match it with one of our middle pins, and this will become the back of our piece A. But once we've attached the folded waistband to piece A, we're going to sew around a 1/2 inch seam allowance and also leave a 3 inch gap. This 3 inch gap will be how we insert the elastic later. I'm using this safety pin-like tool that I got from the fabric store, but you're more than welcome to use a safety pin as well to attach to the elastic so that way we can move it through the casing. But once you get the elastic out on the same side, you'll want to overlap it and sew it down in the middle. Once you have that elastic in there, you can move it around so that it's even. And then we're going to find that opening, stretch it out to be flat, take it to the sewing machine, and close the remainder of the waistband. Now, once we have our completed piece A with the waistband attached and serged, we're gonna take our completed sweat pant, flip it back right side out, wrong side out, and then we're gonna find that back seam on waistband A and go ahead and match it to the back seam of our sweat pant. Once we do that, we're gonna place the waistband inside, making sure to keep both back seams in line, and then pinning it in place using the 4 corners. So once that's completed, we're going to stay stitch that in place. And a stay stitch is just your longest stitch length. We're gonna go all the way around. Moving on to our final waistband, you're gonna sew the back seam closed, go ahead and give it a serge. And once your waistband is sewn, you're gonna wanna find the 4 corners. This will make it easier for us to attach it. And then we're going to fold the waistband in half like we did with waistband A. And to make sure I don't get the pins that are representing my 4 corners confused, my corner pins are upright and then the remaining pins are horizontal. And then from there, we're gonna grab our sweat pant, find the back. We'll take our waistband B and go ahead and attach that back seam to the same back seam that waistband A is attached to, and then use the 4 corners to attach the waistband around, making sure that all 3 layers are flush with one another and that there isn't any unevenness while we're pinning this waistband down. And just like before, once we have it all pinned down, we're gonna sew it around at 1/2 inch seam allowance, but leave a 3-inch gap for our elastic. So like I said before, when sewing this, we are going through multiple layers. So we wanna make sure that all those layers are flush with one another so our waistbands are the same size. And then once again, using that 3-inch gap, I am moving my elastic through. I forgot to mention this before, but in the sewing instructions is actually a chart for what size elastic you need and how much of it you'll use for each waistband. And then once you fed your elastic through, you want to overlap both sides and then sew it down with multiple stitches. And after that was complete, I went ahead and closed the waistband and also serged all the raw edges. And there is our completed double waistband. Next, the last thing you want to do is hem it, and you have the option to hem it anywhere between 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, depending on how tall you are. But once you've hemmed your garment, your double stack waistband is complete. This pattern is such a unique twist on a classic waistband, and I think it'll be perfect for the fall and winter seasons. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, you can give this video a big thumbs up. That is the easiest way to support me on this channel. If you do go and grab the double stack sewing pattern and make one for yourself, be sure to show me by using the hashtag #DoubleStackLoungePant as well as tagging @Happily_Dressed. And if you're looking for more sewing content and ways to grow in your sewing journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down below, and I will catch you guys in my next video. See you guys later.